everyone, and welcome back to Sunday Reads with Renee. My name is Renee here at Simply Renee. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to my channel thus far, as well as watched, shared, liked, commented, and viewed my videos. I truly appreciate it as it helps my channel to grow. Today I'm going to be doing a double book review entry for two Ruth Ware books, and that is In a Dark, Dark Wood and The Death of Mrs. Westaway. Before I begin, I want to let everybody know that I will be revealing plot points, so spoilers are ahead, and these are also only the two Ruth Ware books I've ever read, therefore I can't do a fair comparison to all of them and her other works, but I hope you enjoyed this book review, and again, spoilers are ahead. The first one I'm going to do is In a Dark, Dark Wood, the 2015 novel by Ruth Ware, which also served as her debut work. And what's great about this book is that it really captures the suspense, mystery, and tension that are great within any type of genre, especially psychological thrillers. And this is a knockout debut, which I truly enjoyed and think is perfect for any read throughout the year, especially in the more November or spooky season. And the reason I say that is because it has all the right elements of gothic as well as mystery and psychological thrillers. In a Dark, Dark Wood takes place in England with a woman named Nora who's a reclusive writer. She is an introvert who lives her life very quietly and reclusively with only one friend by her side and some family members. And what's interesting about Nora is that she gets this mysterious email from an old friend named Claire who she'd known since childhood, but hasn't seen in about 10 years since they were about 16, 17 years old. And for Nora, it's very strange to get this invite to Claire's bachelorette party because, again, they haven't seen each other in 10 years. And at first, Nora's reluctant to go, but then decides to. And everything is very awkward when she arrives in this glass house for a weekend bachelorette party in the middle of the woods. So you already have the scary atmosphere there. Everything is fine at first, despite the awkwardness and the tension and anxiety Nora feels because deep down she doesn't really like Claire anymore and hasn't seen her in 10 years, and she questions, so why did I go? It's awkward and filled with a lot of tension, and one thing leads to another where Nora ends up the next day waking up in a hospital with no memory of what exactly happened in the last memories of her conscience. And it turns out that one of the party members has deceased in a very violent way. And Nora doesn't remember a lot, and so she's tasked with trying to solve this mystery while also dealing with parts of her past. And this is a very great debut again because I really enjoyed it. It had the right level of mystery, suspense, and thrills. It reveals a lot of secrets, and Nora even goes back into elements of her past, especially with her friendship Claire, where it wasn't all it seemed to be. There was a lot of tension and awkwardness and dealing with a lot of things that led her to have this falling out with Claire 10 years prior. And there's a lot of sinister elements at work. But what I loved about In a Dark, Dark Wood is that it's a fantastic debut. It's perfect to read at any time of the year, especially in the month of November or the spooky season. But if you want good psychological thrills and that gothic type element, dark, atmospheric, this is perfect for it. I absolutely love the suspense. I thought it was fantastic. And it builds up very well as it goes through the mystery, flashing back and forth too. And it just keeps building up, building up, building up to get to this conclusion of what is considered to be a great twist ending if you don't see it coming. And I really enjoyed it. And I felt it ended in a way that was perfect for some things, and I thought it worked very well to really get to the conclusion of what everyone needs. So I definitely recommend In a Dark, Dark Wood. The next book is The Death of Mrs. Westaway. Now, The Death of Mrs. Westaway was a 2018 novel by Ruth Ware, and I did like it in some regards. It's about a young woman named Harriet Westaway, nicknamed Hal, who's a tarot card reader in Brighton. And she's really taken up the mantle of what was left behind when her mother passed on a few years ago. But it's been tough. She doesn't have exact gifts. Some things have happened. And she ends up having to take out money from a loan shark, which causes a lot of anxiety. And the loan shark's now making threats against her. So there's a lot of concern for Hal to find the money she needs in order to pay back this loan shark and get the shark off her back. Now, one of the things that does occur to Hal is that she gets a letter sent to her about receiving an inheritance from a woman named Mrs. Westaway who has just died. The thing is that Hal doesn't even know who this person is. There's no connection, but thinking that she can at least get a few dollars out of this woman's estate, she ends up deciding to just go in, be the imposter, and get enough money that she can hopefully pay back this loan shark. So she heads to the estate, which is already a big grand manor with gothic elements, a little bit of a creepy atmosphere, so it fits well within the spookiness of the novel. And one of the things that happens is that Hal ends up discovering upon the reading of the will that the deceased Mrs. Westaway left everything to Hal, including her grand estate. So you already have a little bit of a hiccup there. But for Hal, she ends up discovering some different things, that her late mother was actually in some way connected to the Westaway family through an old photograph she finds, and then goes on this journey of uncovering the mystery to this connection, as well as the mystery of everything in the family. Now, what I liked about this book is that it has that creepy atmosphere to it that works well. You end up finding some diary entries from years ago that help to really move the plot along the way it needs to. So it has those elements very well. And I did like the character of Harriet. What I didn't really feel connected to, unlike in A Dark, Dark Wood, is all of the characters. In A Dark, Dark Wood, I felt connection with all of the characters. I liked all of them, their good parts, bad parts, flaws, and everything that helped them to move the plot along. And this isn't to say that The Death of Mrs. Westaway doesn't have interesting characters, but for me, I didn't really gravitate to them. I didn't think they had the same kind of interesting feel like they did in A Dark, Dark Wood. And in this one, it just didn't really work out with The Death of Mrs. Westaway. But I did like the character of Harriet. I liked the mystery and how it moved along, flashing back and forth between the past and the present. And it works really well because everything goes up well, building the suspense to where it has to draw the conclusion. So it works out very well and is a good part of the Ruth Ware books I think are very compelling. Now, I do think that if you were to compare both of these books, I would recommend In a Dark, Dark Wood because I thought that was the better one compared to The Death of Mrs. Westaway. But again, I liked both, and I think you can really get the suspense, mystery, psychological thrills out of it, just as anything. And if you are a big fan of it, I recommend both of these books. That concludes my double book review here for In a Dark, Dark Wood and The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. Now, tell me what you think. Did you like any of the Ruth Ware books? Have you read any of these two books, and what did you think of them? Please be sure to put them down into the comment below with all suggestions as well. I welcome all discussions. I thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell. And I'll see you next time. Bye.